Fireworks trigger Bigfoot to display their dominance. Coming up next. Welcome to WILLSTAR Monsters and Mysteries. Today I have a special one for you. All I can say is wow. After I read this one, I can't wait to give it to you. It's actually a viewer encounter that they had in 1998. I've been holding on to it just for this time of year, and now you get to have it. Hold on to your seats. Wait till you hear this one. As you guys know, YouTube loves when you hit that like button, so please do that for me. And if you're new to the channel, you might as well go ahead and subscribe right now. Chances are you're going to like what you see. Alright, enough about that. Let's go ahead and get into this amazing, terrifying encounter. This happened on July 4th weekend in 1998. 3 friends and I decided to go camping for the weekend on my friend's family property on Comstock Creek, just south of Dixie, Idaho. This property had only one way in and one way out, and we were all the way in. We figured what better way to go celebrate the 4th than to go camping and bring some fireworks with us to celebrate. Big mistake. Friday night on the 3rd passed by like any other night. We sat around the fire, ate some food, drank some beers, and had a lengthy conversation about how MJ had just did it to our jazz again, before going to bed fairly early since we had all worked earlier that day. But everything changed on the 4th. That night, it had just gotten dark, and we had started cooking steaks, cowboy style, over the fire when my friend started with the fireworks. These weren't the kind of fireworks you get at the gas station. Somehow, he had gotten his hands on the bigger ones. When the first one started going off, which had over 10 shots in it, it echoed through the whole area. I remember thinking to myself, wow, that was really loud, and it really lit up the sky. A few minutes went by, and he lit up another one. But this time, as it was finishing, we heard a loud knock echoing over the noise of the fireworks from the top of a hill next to us. And we were all looking at each other like, what the hell was that? When one of my friends actually said, what the hell was that? We waited around a few more minutes listening, but heard nothing. Then my friend said, hey, let's set off another one and see if it happens again. I'm gonna use the 30-shot grand finale one. Let's see what happens.
Big mistake.
As soon as the first shot fired up into the sky, even before it blew up, there was another loud knock, but this time further down the hill, a lot closer to us, followed immediately by another knock from another hill across a small creek. Then all hell broke loose. Whatever these things were, they started howling as they came rushing down the hills towards us, crashing through the brush, knocking over dead trees, all the while howling like nothing I've ever heard in my life, even drowning out the noise from the exploding fireworks above. The whole situation was terrifying. The firework was still going off and not hearing any of it, and the creature's howlings sent me into some kind of shock. And the only way I can explain it is like the movie The Matrix, where everything slowed down and the howling somehow faded to the background, while the small sound of the fireworks launching up from the ground 20 feet away or so came to the forefront in slow motion, like foof, 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 which made me look at the firework, and visually, they seemed to be launching in slow motion. It was the weirdest feeling I've ever had. We were all freaking out, and the friend who drove us was so terrified that he couldn't really speak, barely saying something like that he was leaving right now, and took off running to his truck. The rest of us stood there for a moment, still in shock and frozen in place, scared out of our minds, before realizing what he had just said. Then we took off running after him, feeling like we might be running for our lives. My friend who was driving was so scared that he started driving away without us, and we barely caught up in time to hop in the back of his truck as he was pulling away. He never stopped the truck. He was so scared, and I promise you, the rest of us were too. As we were speeding away, we saw 2 huge dark silhouettes coming out of the tree lines, howling on both sides of our camp. We left everything and didn't go back until almost noon the next day, and only to grab our stuff and hightail it out of there. We didn't even think about looking for any evidence. We all felt we were being watched and in danger. None of us do any drugs. We weren't drinking heavily. We only brought one case of beer for the weekend for the 4 of us. I've never been so scared in my life as that night. None of us have ever gone back to that camping spot, and for me, I know I never will. Looking back, I wonder if they weren't already aware of us on Friday night and might have just been silently watching us from afar being curious. Then Saturday night, when we lit off the fireworks, they might have perceived that as a territorial threat, or us trying to assert some kind of dominance or something, which they were having no part of, and made sure we knew who truly owns the wilderness.